Now let's look at the problem of writing an equation of line given a point on the line and a line perpendicular to the line. So again, here's an example problem. So it'd say write the equation of line, and given the line passes through -4, 3 and is perpendicular to 2x minus 3y is equal to 18. Now the first thing you do is you need to know what formula to use, and the formula you're going to use is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1, right? That's the form that you're going to use. And then the steps are, first find the slope of the given line. If you notice, these steps are exactly the same as they were with parallel lines. So find the slope of the given line. Second, find the slope of our line, which is perpendicular. And this is the symbol used for perpendicular. Third step, you plug in the point and the slope. Now be very careful that you plug in the right slope. We want the slope not of the line that we're given, but the slope of the line perpendicular to that line. And fourth, you're going to rewrite it, and generally the way that you're going to rewrite it is either y equals mx plus b or ax plus by is equal to c. Almost always there's going to be one of those two forms. So let's get started. First, I'm just going to write down the formula. Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. And I'm given the point. The point is -4, 3. And the slope, I don't know. So the way that I'm going to find the slope is I'm going to look at the line that's given, 2x minus 3y is equal to 18, and I'm going to find the slope of this line. And the way that I'm going to find the slope of this line is I'm going to rewrite it y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract 2x and subtract 2x, and I get minus 3y is equal to minus 2x plus 18. Now I'm going to divide by a -3. And I get y is equal to, that's 2/3 x. 18 divided by 3 is going to be a 6. But be careful here. If you notice, I divided by a negative, so this has to be a negative as well. So remember, if you divide one thing by something, you have to divide everything by exactly the same thing. So that's going to be a -6. So that's the slope. But I'm going to call this slope of, and I'm going to put a little parallel symbol there to remind myself that this is the slope of the parallel line. So what's the slope of the line that I wanted to find? Remember, the slope of a perpendicular line is going to be what's called the negative reciprocal. So the slope here is going to be a -3/2. If you need help with slopes of perpendicular lines, then watch the video from the previous unit that's entitled Perpendicular Lines. It goes over that. So now I'm going to plug in the slope. Y minus y1 is equal to -3/2 x minus x1. Be real careful here. A real common mistake is people will plug in this slope when they should plug in this slope. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the point. So I'm going to plug in y minus 3 is equal to -3/2 x, that's a -4, or +4. I do this in 2 steps. You probably do it in 1. And now let me write this in this one. Let me write this in the form y equals mx plus b. If the question doesn't state it, I think this is the best way always to write it. If I want to write it in this form, though, I'm going to do is I'm going to take the -3/2 and I'm going to distribute. So I get y minus 3 is equal to negative 3 halves x. And that's going to be, let me look at that. That's minus 3/4 times 4, which is 4 over 1. A negative times a positive will be a negative, and then that's 12 over 4, which is going to be a 3. Another way to think about it is the 4's cancel. It would be the same thing. So that's a negative 3. And now to write out y equals mx plus b, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 3 here and add a 3 here. This is going to be y is equal to minus 3 halves x plus 0. You don't need the 0 there. If you want to write it just y is equal to minus 3 halves x, that's fine. The b in the y equals mx plus b is just a 0. And that's how you write the equation line given a point and a perpendicular line. Let's do another example of that. In this case, let's say that the line passes through the point 2, negative 5, and is perpendicular to, and sometimes people just use this symbol right here, that means perpendicular to, y is equal to 3/4, no, let's do 4/3, yeah. And is perpendicular to y is equal to 4/3 x plus 7. So first, what formula are we going to use? Y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. In fact, for all of these problems where you write equation lines, you can always use this formula. We need a point and we need a slope. The point the point is 2 minus 5, but the slope we don't have. So we're going to try to find the slope. In order to find the slope of the line that we want, we have to first find the slope of the perpendicular line. So that's y is equal to 4/3 x plus 7. The slope of this line we can just read off. It's going to be 4/3. So m, I'm going to use this symbol here because this is the slope of the perpendicular line is 4/3, which means the slope is going to be the negative reciprocal of that. So we flip this fraction so it becomes a 3/4, and it changes signs from a positive to a negative. Now we're just going to plug in the plug in the slope and then plug in the point. So that's y minus a negative 5 is equal to minus 3/4 x minus 2. I don't like the negative 5, so it's y plus 5 is equal to minus 3/4 x minus 2. Now I need to rewrite this one. In this instance, let's rewrite this in standard form. If we're going to rewrite this in standard form, then we need it to look eventually like ax plus by is equal to c. So I'm just going to move this up and rewrite it. Let's make sure we understand what we're doing. We're given a point, so we plug the point in. We're not given a slope, but we're given a line perpendicular to the line. If we define the slope of this line, which is 4/3, we know the slope of our line has to be the negative reciprocal of 4/3, which will be a negative 3/4. So then we plug that in. Let's go ahead and rewrite this. The first thing I'm going to do is distribute the negative 3/4, so you get y plus 5 is negative 3/4 x. Now that's negative 3/4 times 2. Let's do that. That's negative 3/4 times a negative 2, or 2 over 1. So that's 6 over 4, or another way to think about that is the 2 and the 4 cancel. That becomes a 2 and a 1. So negative times a negative is a positive, so it's 3 over 2. Now I need to subtract. What I need to do is I'm going to try to get the, I'm going to try to add. Let me add 3/4 x and add 3/4 x. And I have 3/4 x plus y plus 5 is equal to 3/2. I'm going to subtract 5 and subtract 5. Here you have to do some fractions, right? So you have 3/2 minus 5, or 5 over 1. The common denominator is 2, so it's 3/2 minus 10 over 2, or minus 7 over 2. So you have 3/4 x plus y is equal to minus 7 over 2. Now that's ax plus by equals c, but a and c are both fractions. I have to multiply by some number that will clear all the fractions. I'm going to multiply everything by 4. If I multiply everything by 4, that would clear both this one and this one. So then I just distribute the 4, and you end up with 3x plus 4y is equal to minus 7. And that's your final answer right there. And that's how you find the equation of a line given a point and a perpendicular line.